jump right into it. What?
Yeah, I think so.
Dude, what has been going on with you?
What has been going on with me? What has not been going on with me?
You've been
around.
Been in and out of town.
Yeah. I mean, when's the last time we talked? Like 2 months ago?
Yeah, our last episode officially on air was 2 months ago.
John and Brandon.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been floating around. I don't travel too much for work, but the past 2 months I did like 6 weeks in a row out of town. So I'd do like three days in town, then I'd be like Thursday through Sunday, I'd be gone. Damn. So that was cool. Did a few music festivals. Crystal and I went on vacation for one of those weekends as well. So it was like a nice little like break in between the 6 weeks.
Right. Even though you're still traveling, it was like a mental reset to be like, dude, I gotta a little R&R with the gal.
Yeah, we did. I did North Carolina. So I did Dreamville there with AB and those guys. And then came back home and then I did Palm Springs 2 weekends in a row for Tao Group with Kurza for the Coachella after party.
Oh, nice.
And then that 4th weekend we went to Huntington. So 3 weekends in a row I drove to California.
Jesus Christ.
Pretty not rad.
Right.
And then I did went to North Carolina again for Breakaway. And then I did Hawaii and we did Palm Tree Music Festival.
Jesus.
So that was pretty fun. Yeah, it was a fun little run. I'm not the greatest at traveling. So like it was a fun crash course and like how to pack more efficiently. I used to get anxiety on airplanes. Now I feel like super pro at it.
What do you mean you're not the best at traveling? Like in what sense?
Like I don't have a ton of experience traveling as far as for work. Like,
okay.
So like how to like properly pack my bag, how to make sure I have my bag as my carry-on and then check my luggage. I ran into once. This is good. Actually, great topic. I ran into a scenario where long story short, the client had to have me book the flights last minute. So I got a horrible boarding group. So I was at the end of the boarding group on a Delta flight and I had to check my camera bag.
Fuck no.
Yeah. And I like tried to argue with them and like there wasn't a ton I could do. So I had to just like say a prayer to whatever God there is that my shit doesn't get destroyed. And they're like, oh, are there any lithium batteries in here? I'm like, dude, there's thousands of lithium batteries in there. So I just said, you know what? Nah, there's nothing in there. Take it. I was like, I'm not going to fucking pull my laptop out, pull my fucking 40 batteries out and like just loosely hold them like a dipshit.
Yeah. I have 40 AA's and you're rolling around your pockets.
Yeah. So I was talking to Steven about it and Steven's like, dude, there's other ways that you can get around that. And he's like, if you ever have a bad boarding group, you can go up to the desk and ask them that you need you need to board early because you have this equipment. And he's like, if they say no, he's like, go to a different fucking person, go find somebody else. And he actually had the same scenario and they let him on early. And he's like, I was getting weird looks because I was going on before everybody else. He's like, I didn't give a fuck. My shit's safe.
Right.
And I was concerned because I was going to a job. If I was coming home from a job, I wouldn't be as
more relaxed.
Yeah. But if my shit gets lost or if it gets broken, not super concerned about it getting broken in that bag, but like lost.
Right.
Then I can't work, you know?
Yeah.
So that was a weird scenario. So then that's like one of the things I'm talking about with like learning how to just be a better traveler, you know?
Yeah, but there's not really a way to plan for that because that happened to me when I went to Abu Dhabi with Volk was I flew from here to JFK. Everything was fine. Pelican was my carry-on and then my luggage clothes was underneath. And then from JFK to Abu Dhabi is a smaller plane and it's a different airline. And so they made me check the Pelican and I was like, absolutely not. I was like, this is literally like my livelihood. If this doesn't make it to Abu Dhabi with me, like I have nothing. No. And they were like, no, it literally like the plane is like basically like the plane is smaller. Like this case it's too heavy, won't fit.
Yeah.
And so I had to just like suck it up. Like I can't do anything. And at first they were gonna make me take out all my batteries. They're like, oh, is there batteries in here? And I opened it up on the thing and I was like, it's filled with camera shit. Of course there's batteries. And they're like, you got to take them out. And I was like, fuck you. I'm not taking these out.
Okay. So you argued it. Oh
yeah. And they were like, they like looked at it, and I was like, I'm not carrying like 30 something double it. Like, no, plus my camera batteries. I was like, no. And they're like, oh, they talked to like other people, management or whatever. I don't know. And they're just like, oh, okay, it's fine. Just lock it up and throw it on there. And I was like, I'm not fucking checking these. I'm not taking these batteries with me.
Yeah. So I was watching a video. Unfortunately, when I'm doing these gigs, I have the Think Tank Airport security. So it's like the biggest carry-on bag you can bring. That's still a camera bag. So I carry a lot of shit, but I've seen other people where they have a modular bag where they have like half camera stuff, half clothes, where they could pull out the camera cube and then it's a sling bag. So then it's their carry-on. or their personal item. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So then they're not like fucked.
Yeah, I think Steven was saying that. He's like, I'll take out and fuck it. Worst case, I'll like just have like cameras, like bodies on my lap type thing. He's like, but I will not check like a body. And I was like,
yeah,
I agree. But sometimes if I would have thought of that, I would have done the same thing. I remember taking out my laptop and shoving it in like my backpack, my carry on, but I didn't even think about like bodies or at least like a lenses. Like, what's the most expensive thing I could at least carry on me? And then the rest just, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It was. Yeah, I got really lucky. And now I just make sure that I have early boarding no matter what. It's weird too because Delta is like a nicer airline. And I had the most grief with them though. Like,
well, I don't get what the early boarding headed is.
So the early boarding is because
you just had no
everybody's
space?
Bringing on carry-ons because they don't want to check it.
Right.
So then they run out of overhead space.
Oh, so then the last you get far. Oh, okay, I see.
And it's funny too because I flew Southwest, but you can buy the early bird check-in, so then you're guaranteed like the Group A. So then you got space. Spirit, you could pay extra. You could do that. Delta, I was just screwed on.
No, Delta is just like all your points and your
yeah. And I was like, well, what the fuck? And then also they like overbooked the flight and they're like, oh yeah, one person's gonna have to stay back and we'll compensate you. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like I'd be so pissed.
Yeah. It's always weird because you're like the odds of one person on the plane who's like, no, I'm good. I'm just going home or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
Like that flexibility is just such a arrogant thing to think about of like, someone's bound to be like, I could fucking chill for a day.
It's insane. And like their flights are more expensive. Granted, it's nicer on the plane. You get better like amenities, whatever. But it's like, then you have all these extra like hoops you have to jump through. But then Southwest and Spirit, I never had an issue with because you can just pay the extra money and then it's a business expense. The client usually pays for it. So
yeah,
I don't know. That might be the move.
What?
Just doing a shittier airline so you can guaranteed.
Shittier airline just to pay more to,
when the client's paying for it, you're usually flying Southwest or Spirit anyways.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I know. I've only, Delta. No. It's usually Southwest. If I'm lucky, United.
Yeah, and the only reason why I got Delta was because I had to book it the same week last minute. And I was like, this is the only one where I'm not like stuck there for an extra day.
Right.
And they're like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, I haven't done too much traveling in that sense. I've only done like mainly little weekenders too, but I've only had that one situation with Abu Dhabi of the having to check the camera gear. And I've never been more stressed in my life. What
have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Not a ton. I wouldn't say. NHL ended. Vegas Golden Knights didn't make it past round 1. So my season ended. Because they have
bummer.
Yeah, because they have LSCs in every state. It's not like I work for the NHL, but I'm based here, so it's like I'm not traveling.
Yeah.
But yeah, that ended, which was cool. I was like getting in a groove, but it's bittersweet. Only because I could, shoot other things in the time being.
What are some of your takeaways from that being your first season? Like what? Because I mean, like we've talked about it, and like that's like a super sick position. Like, would you do it again? Are you looking forward to doing it next season? What are some of the things you've learned? How was your first year being introduced into like shooting sports?
First question, I would absolutely do it again next year. Especially, I'll know and be even more comfortable with everything that is, asked of me. Second season or second time around. My takeaways mainly was just trying to be not necessarily good, but more so try to get a decent shot or decent, video, and then mainly speed. Like efficiency. How fast can you shoot that thing or get that video and then get it to the team so that they could go through it or they could post it and this and that. Because at first going into it, I thought, I work for the league. Like it's gonna get used or it's gonna, you know what I mean? Like it's a layup. I didn't realize that until seeing what got posted and what didn't get posted, that it's like, I am still fighting against, each hockey team's photographer or like even Getty and things like that. So that was like a learning curve to be like, who shot that photo? Like I was the only one there. And then it's like, oh shit, that's a team photo. You know what I mean? So that'd be a biggest learning curve of like, damn, I am still competing for speed against every other outlet.
Yeah, can you explain like a quick like workflow, like a quick brief of how your workflow goes when you're working for the LCC position?
Yeah, the LSC. So
LSC,
quick
sorry.
workflow. I'm trying to think like how do you want like a quick timeline of like what's a game or more?
Well, because
so
like you're explaining how speed is of the essence. Why is it of the essence?
speed is of the essence because the league wants that photo of that goal or that celebration or warm-ups, whatever it may be. They want it literally in real time as fast as you can.
Mm-hmm.
So which I personally think like, bro, like no one's sitting there on their phone watching Instagram or Facebook or Twitter for like 6 minutes after that goal happened. They're either watching on TV
Or they're busy doing something else.
yeah, but that's here nor there. So workflow is I will video wise, if I capture a clip, I can transfer straight from the Canon R3 straight to my phone. I could just Bluetooth it, drop it to my phone, and then I crop it if I need to 9:16, or just leave it as is. They could crop it, add music. So I'll drop that pretty much instantly. The only thing that sucks about that workflow is for me, you can't shoot in Canon log in order to drop to your phone. So I have to just shoot in regular profile, which sucks for me because down the line, I always want to try to edit raw footage. So that's like client versus like stuff I could backlog and use later. But that's the fastest. And then photo wise, I'll usually just do the same thing. If it's like instant, like a goal or celebration, I'll drop it to my phone through Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. If it's a big dump after a period or the end of the night, I'll just photo mechanic, blaze through those, drop in capture one, not really any editing, just a little tweak of a brightness, a saturation, and then upload.
And are you similar to the video? Are you doing JPEG versus RAW for your
No, I'm doing
initial
RAW,
upload?
but I probably should do JPEG for speed. But some of the stuff I do like to keep it RAW because they will crop in even more once I send it. They will like really crop in some of the shots. So I do want to give them all the information I can.
Yeah, nice. When I do the sports, everyone gives me a fucking hard time about it, but I don't care either. I'll do JPEG large, one card, and then I'll do raw compressed on the other card.
Oh,
So I
okay.
have the raw compressed for myself.
There you go.
And then when I shoot the JPEG, I shoot with a picture profile on there, and I bump the clarity, the contrast, and the saturation. So it's like
Baked
it
in
looks
there.
color graded, baked in out of camera.
Nice.
For efficiency purposes.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see. That's another thing that I didn't even really think about. Sometimes I get stuck in habits of things that I don't even like. That ain't broke, especially because switching between settings, sometimes you do forget. For example, I've shot some projects after a game and didn't realize it until I'm like, oh shit, this is still not in Canon log. Like, fuck, now 2 clips are on a regular profile and then everything else that I caught it is in log. And I'm like, God damn it, now the color is going to be off.
Dude,
So
I shot a lacrosse game right before I shot the Chainsmokers press photos for the win.
mhm.
And the first half of the press photos were in raw compressed. Everything's fine. No big deal. But I thought they were in JPEG. And when I realized it, I almost started crying. And I'm like, oh my God. And I looked at it and it said raw compressed. I was like, thank fucking God. Because I didn't notice until like almost the end of the shoot. Because I had to rush out of a game straight to there because they had to move the time up.
Oh, so you thought, fuck, I've shot all these in
In JPEG.
JPEG. Oh,
Like a studio shoot, like
damn
crazy big, crazy important. The biggest like artist that the win has.
Right,
I
and-
thought I shot
and
in
yeah.
JPEG.
it. 3 minutes with them to take their photo and then they're out of here.
Luckily it wasn't that quick. They were very cool and very accommodating.
Mm-hmm.
They were actually they were like so nitpicky. Like we would shoot a set and they'd like come and look what they don't like, they don't hold back. Then I have like the stylist, the manager, like 20 people behind me. I'm just like,
Well, what's funny about being nitpicky, because I see that billboard on the freeway every time, and what drives me nuts about that photo is the one guy's beard. How it's like there's like this weird, it's like too long, and then there's like this weird patch that doesn't grow in. And I see that photo every time I drive by on the 15. And I'm like, he couldn't have gotten like a beard trim before this photo
no,
shoot.
they got haircuts like right there. That's just like
I know that one guy looks clean cut.
It's
Looks
part
good.
of their look. Yeah.
Yeah, but the patch on the
I
throat
know,
just drives me nuts. I see it. I'm
I
like,
know.
you guys couldn't have fucking.
A close friend of mine doesn't shave his neck. He just grows it all down, has the neck beard. I'm like, dude, it looks insane.
It drives me nuts because I'm like, yeah, I know all these other nitpicky things for a press shoot. And I'm like, one thing like that where I'm like, that.
Yeah, it's just part of their thing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Pretty funny.
yeah, settings wise, I try. It's a good and bad thing, but getting stuck in habits because, like I said, switching back and forth. However, shooting this convention, Mikey McNulty was like, don't shoot, because I usually shoot RAW and JPEG. And he was like, just shoot RAW compressed. I don't need JPEGs. And I also didn't realize taking that option off because I don't need to always shoot in the JPEG version. It freed up so much space on my fucking memory cards.
Mhm.
Like getting double. I'm like, oh shit, 8,000 photos now. Sick.
Yeah, so opposed to doing RAW plus JPEG, I'll do one to one card, one to the other. So I have the one card, and I'll actually, ironically, with the R3, it's fast enough. With RAW compressed, I do RAW compressed to the SD card,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would do the JPEG large on the CF Express Type B just for speed purposes while shooting sports.
Okay.
Because it'll dump the JPEGs off that card so fast.
Yeah.
And then I tag in camera. So then when I upload to Photo Mechanic, it's already pre-selected. I just save it and then upload it or then put it in the group chat for the social media, whatever client I have for that specific scenario.
Yeah. Whoever you're sending it to.
Yeah. So there's like 20 ways to skin a cat, right? So it's cool to like talk to other photographers and talk to other shooters and see what they do. I talked to my friend Tyler Bailey,
Mm-hmm.
who he does that same position, but for the NFL, and he shoots on like this big ass Blackmagic camera. But they're like, oh yeah, we want most of the content on a iPhone. So it's like hearing their trials and tribulations and workflows, and then hearing yours in a different league, but same thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
They've mentioned that to us too a handful of times. Like, oh, shoot like this on a phone. We want cell phone content, yada yada. And it's like, I get it. I know what you're going for, but at the same time, it's like, fuck, I'm not. You know what I mean? Like,
It's fucking just like
juggling so many things.
Yeah.
Juggling photo and video. Oh, also don't get a cell phone clip because it's more organic looking and it's faster, this and that. Which for me, I've been in these positions where juggling a lot, it's like second nature, so I get it. But other people struggle because I've met other LSCs or there are other LSCs that are either photo heavy or video heavy, and they don't really stray across that line. So they're like, oh shit, I don't really do video. I only do photo. So it's like, bro, to ask them to then also do like a camera or a cell phone, it's like, you're going to overload these people.
Well, think about how your first game was to your last game.
Yeah.
How much more efficient, how much better you are, and more comfortable you are.
Yeah. More comfortable and then also more selective because out of each game that is shot, most of the stuff doesn't even get used by the league or just in general. So it's like you kind of start to go, I don't even need to upload this. Yeah. Or whatever. I don't even you shoot everything. Of course, it's just, again, in my nature, but certain things I'm like, none of this is going to get used.
Yeah. I think Tyler said that he has to shoot, if he shoots with his regular camera, he has to shoot with the phone mounted on his hot shoe.
That's easy. That's what I do. That's the easiest way. For behind the scenes content for ourselves, just in general, but also if the league wants a cell phone clip, just fucking mount hot shoe adapter to your camera, hit record, send it off. They're happy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty demoralizing though. You're like really good at like what you do. And like, oh yeah, just shoot it all on an iPhone. Like,
yeah.
Fuck, dude?
Oh, it's funny. I've had a few people just in my lifetime where I'm pulling out my cell phone to record something or just on my phone and I have my camera on me and some guy is always all this expensive equipment and you're filming on your phone. I'm like, bro, I'm texting. Shut up. But it's always funny of like that. We have all this expensive equipment. You filming on a cell phone.
Fuck off. Don't talk to me.
Fuck off, dude. NHL ended. You
were getting some pretty sick. We talked about this before, but you were getting some pretty sick 360 cam footage that you had mounted on your camera while you're shooting the NHL stuff.
Yeah, I picked up a 360 cam just for BTS and a different perspective, and it's cool that you could just mount it to the small rig and I just fire it on numerous times, just let it run for a few minutes, turn it off, and then get what I get. It's also been a fun experience to like kind of edit in the 360 app. It's like called Go Quick. or it's just called GoPro Quick. So that's been fun because you could literally fucking edit and move it in
Any direction, right?
Yeah, so that's been fucking sick. And then I was gonna return it. My idea with my wife was like, she's like, you're gonna shoot these last couple games and you're gonna return it. I didn't return it. I kept it. So yeah.
Well, I was telling you we could split it if you want
Yeah.
before you even bought one.
Yeah. Well, I also told her too because I did a firm for this. So I'm like, bro, I've only spent like $40 on it thus far. So like,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna return it. Like,
yeah.
I've
Fuck it.
spent $38 once a month or once every 3 months, whatever it is. So
I know I've been buying some gear. I mean, it's all been needed, but the one thing I bought that wasn't needed, but I've always wanted to get more into, is like drone photography.
oh, okay.
So I picked up a Mavic 3 Classic.
Oh shit, nice. Wait, drone photo or drone video?
Primarily photo.
Oh, okay.
I could do the video, but like I'm mostly a photographer. I do love doing video. I just don't have the time.
Well, I mean, with the drone, is there drones that only do photo?
No, it's so this Mavic 3 has like a 3/4 sensor, so you can do photo or video on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think all of them do both for the most part. But yeah, I just want to do like some sick like aerial stuff. Meg was doing some sick stuff in Hawaii
Mm-hmm.
of the resort, so that inspired me. I was like, oh, that's fucking dope. And then I was like, oh, there's gonna be other scenarios where I can like incorporate this. So I picked one up. Now I gotta get like the Part 107.
Oh, you gotta do all the
that
back end
shit.
stuff.
I mean, yeah, you can get away with it because if you're flying recreationally, but if you're
Mhm.
making money on it, you're supposed to have the license. So I gotta get on that sooner than later.
Yeah, which is our millennial problem. Everything we always try to turn into fucking money. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a hobby for a few months, and then you're eventually like, fuck, dude, I'm gonna start making money on this drone.
Yeah, I have a couple gigs coming up where I'm like, oh, maybe I could bring it, but I'm like, fuck. You know, some other people like tell me the FAA is getting pretty strict. So
Yeah, Mikey was talking about because that's all he does. So he was talking about a whole bunch of jargon that I was like, I don't know anything what you're saying, but it sounds
important.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. So that first festival that I did was Dreamville in not Charlotte, in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
So that was cool. Never been in North Carolina. It's very green. People are very nice. That was fun because I was doing not music on this one. I was doing sponsorship stuff for Hennessy.
Okay.
And like the photos I got are super sick and I'm very proud of them. But we were talking about how, you know,
We'll have to, like you were saying off air though, real quick, keep that thought, but we'll pop these up on the
super down
on the video version just to
Yeah.
show people what you're talking about. Because I
Yeah.
want to see them too. So
for sure. Yeah, I can show you too while we even talk about it so you can be incorporated. But yeah, we were talking about how, you know, like a lot of people, like the festival photographers get like, I feel like all the love on like the artist photos and stuff.
yeah.
So it's like kind of like I'm down to shoot whatever. Like I'm very fluid. I'm grateful to shoot sponsorship stuff and I'm fucking good at it.
Yeah.
So like that makes a huge difference. But it is like, you got to like just check the ego a little bit. Like, yeah, I could, you know, like I'm not shooting anything like super cool as far as like what would get a lot of likes on Instagram or like portfolio. I mean, these are good portfolio pieces.
Definitely portfolio, but I get what you're saying, like kind of social clout buzz type of thing. Yeah,
Mhm.
you're like, yeah, everyone wants to see the shot of the Drakes and the J. Coles, and you're like, yeah, you're doing like sponsor stuff. It was like,
Yeah.
what is, I didn't even know that existed at,
Yeah.
that event. You're like, what? The place where we get free drinks?
Yeah, exactly. So that was like cool. And I think that's like the third or fourth festival that I've done strictly sponsorship stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I feel confident doing it. I heard really great things about it from the client and the guys who hired me. They said that like they used them a lot in the recap for the post festival, you know, recap, and they were really impressed. So that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes, you know, you just gotta fucking. But that's what's cool though. If you can like check your ego and still put 110% into doing something that might not be as like flashy or like.
Right.
Yeah, so that was cool. And then I did 2 other festivals where I was photo lead. I was only leading like 2 or 3 other photographers, so it was like pretty small. But that was like a cool experience to like experience like having a little bit more of a leadership role.
Yeah. More people
Um,
under you and things like that.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like, and the other 2 photographers were friends of mine for like the Palm Tree Hawaii one. It was more just kind of like bridging the gap between us 3 and the client, I think. But that was cool. That was like a fun experience to do that. And I've never been to Hawaii.
Oh,
So that
nice.
was sick. Have you been to Hawaii?
Yeah. Yeah, I went on a cruise and then we stayed at the end of the cruise like 2 nights. So it's like, yeah, you kind of went to Hawaii, but like, not really.
I feel the same way.
Yeah. Well,
Literally.
yeah. And you saw the fucking water and then you're like, all right, back home.
Yeah. Flew in to Oahu or to Honolulu in Oahu. And then it's like an hour and a half drive north to the North Shore to Turtle Bay. And then like we hung out for like half a day, got dinner, shot some stuff on the beach, and then worked nonstop for 2 days and then went home at like the shuttle picks up at 5:30 on Sunday.
Damn.
So I was like, I guess I was in Hawaii. Like, yeah, I don't really know.
I guess I touched down in Hawaii. Yeah.
Yeah. I could have been anywhere.
Yeah.
You know,
that's the only downside of traveling for work is like, at least if I mean, how it works out with either your schedule or client's schedule or just budget, right? Like booking rooms and hotels. It's like give a little bit of leeway before the work starts and then a little bit of a day after. And then it's like, then I feel like I saw that city or that place and then I could be like, okay, cool. But when you're literally fly in, work that gig and then fly home, you're like, damn, yeah, I could have been fucking anywhere.
Yeah, for sure. And then the other one that was just like that was the Breakaway Festival in Charlotte, North Carolina.
So both those were in North Carolina?
So Dreamville was in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And then we had Breakaway, which was in Charlotte, but still North Carolina.
Right.
And then the other one was in Hawaii. But yeah, it was the same thing. And that one was a bass festival. So it was like super different.
Yeah.
Shooting bass music. Like I've never really done that. I've done like bass artists individually, maybe, for like local shows here in town, but like an entire lineup of bass music. I was like, whoa, there's a lot.
Different world.
Well, yeah. And like the people that go are different too. I feel like
okay,
the crowd that might go to like an Excision show is probably different than like the crowd that goes to a Zed show. So that was cool to experience them, but everyone was so nice. They, what do they call them? They call them wooks.
Oh, really?
That's like some of them, I don't know, but they have these like sprouted like hairpin things. It's like a little pin, but it has like a little sprout on it.
Mm-hmm.
So like I would fucking get back to the media room and I'd have them like on my bag. People would just put them on me when I'm not paying attention. Or like there was another pin someone gave me, it was a clothes pin. And it said like, you're doing a great job. Have a great day. And someone just put it on my bag. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, everyone's so nice. It's so cool. And then like another thing I had to learn was it rained in Charlotte and it rained in Hawaii. So I had to have like, make sure I had a rain jacket. I got like a pair of like hiking shoes that are waterproof. So I had them.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily I didn't get stuck on the rain at all. But the last night the video team got stuck in the tent in Hawaii because it started just pouring. Yeah, like terrible pouring. So those are like some more traveling things. Like make sure you have like the proper equipment for each scenario.
Yeah, each climate.
Yeah, but it's cool though. It's like nice learning curve. I have a few more that I'm going to be doing this year that I'm looking forward to. But yeah, it was just kind of like all at once. Like,
yeah, it was literally back to back to back to back.
Yeah. My girl was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was saying what the fuck too. I remember texting you. I think at the end of it, I'm like, bro, are you alive? You've been out of town in different places for 2 months.
Yeah, for me, it's fine because like I'm away from home, but I'm just working the entire time. So I don't notice it. But like my girl's at home without me.
Yeah.
Empty spot in the bed.
Right.
Definitely
here and there.
Feels a little more, you know? Yeah. But I'm just grateful that she's so supportive.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, yeah, it's good to have a partner that like gets it, even though it's tough. Same thing for me. These 4-day conventions, like literally sun up to sundown, and then it's like, fuck, sorry, like I'm just come home, cook dinner, and go to bed. Like it's tough. So shout out to them.
Are you gonna start crying?
There's like something in my eye, dude. I'm getting all teary here, making me emotional. You have a soft side.
So here's some random topics we were talking about. You were saying, which would you prefer, a client ghosting you or a client that is willing to meet you at a lower rate and vocalize that?
Yeah.
So you have a scenario where that happened?
Yeah. So like, for example, client, shoots you an email and says, hey, this is the project we have in mind, or, this is what we got going on. What's your rate for this? And you tell them what either your day rate is, if it's a set rate, or what your rate is for this particular project, and say it's outside of their budget, and they ghost you. It's frustrating because you're like, mentally, you just want to put a close on that door if like, oh, they moved on or they found somebody else, yada, yada. So I was just asking you of like, what do you prefer in these situations if they come back and go, Either they ghost you or they come back and go, oh, you gave us a quote for 1,200. Could you do it for 1,000? It's like, which as a business, or you could say personally, like just kind of grind your gears more.
Yeah, I think definitely the ghosting. I'm down if someone, like says, hey, this is out of budget, we can do this. If they're open and honest, I'm willing to entertain that idea. And depending on the person, the client, the scenario, the amount of time, maybe I could work with them.
Yeah.
But I'd at least rather them come to me with the issue and then me give them an answer back. And then that could be like the door being closed. But the ghosting gets real annoying because then you like, hey, can I have an estimate for this job? And then you spend, an hour writing up an estimate, writing up the email. And then it's like they ghost you. You're like, what the fuck? I could have done 100 other things in that hour. I mean, it's just a price of business, but I think for the question, definitely the ghosting. What about you?
I would say same. I would rather a client or a person in general come back with like a counter, let's call it, than just ghost, because mentally, it's frustrating when you're like, think back, like, oh yeah, that's right. That person, texted me or emailed me like 2 weeks ago. Whatever happened to that? And you're like, you either like pull it up or you remember and you're like, oh fuck, they didn't even fucking respond. You're like, that's annoying. I'd rather at least you hit me with something or be like, oh, this is kind of what we've established or this is what we have set aside. And then you're like, all right, I can make that work. Or like you said, are you trying to take advantage of me? Or are you going to get me in at that lower rate and then also add video on the package or ask all these things? Then it's like,
there's so many different like scenarios that can happen with that.
Yeah. But it's just something that dawned on me driving home because, I got hit because it mainly was so I got hit up to shoot EDC. I got an email Thursday night before EDC, which EDC was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I got an email and obviously I was already booked for other things. So I responded in like literally within the hour to be like, holy shit, talk about last minute. I responded. Their rate was really good for what they wanted. So I was like, fuck yeah, I'm on board. And I was like, if my availability works outside of that, I could jam over after these gigs. I could be there. Let me know. And they were like, oh, we're waiting on approval from whoever the fuck. Didn't get back to me. So it was kind of annoying because, again, Thursday night, I'm thinking, fuck, am I going to get a text like Friday morning to be like, all right, green light, get your, whatever.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like, I'm not upset. Just at least tell me like, hey, looks like we found so, because I'm sure Thursday night they probably were panic mode and reached out to 10 people.
Yeah.
But just at least courtesy, just for anyone, for any client in general, just like, hey, look, we've moved on, or hey, we, whatever, found somebody. But thank you though.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. I could fucking get that off my brain and not.
Yeah, because you're like, do I have to fucking rearrange my schedule?
I'm saying get a panic text or like the day of that shoot and like whatever it is that someone's like, hey, just confirming. And you're like, what? No, this is not a confirmation. You didn't fucking confirm.
Yeah, I have a client that I enjoy working with. And it's like a big client, and the person will email you asking your availability for the gig.
Okay.
You respond and then you get ghosted. And I spoke to my buddy Steven, who also works for the same client here and there. And long story short, they booked me a month in advance. Said, hey, are you available this day? And I said, yes, I am. And then I didn't hear from her until a week of. I was like, well, what the fuck? I was like, well, good thing I didn't book anything else at that time. And then I talked to Steven about it. I was like, hey, man, like, should I say something? And he's like, no, that's just how that client is sometimes. He's like, just if they reach out and you're available, consider it booked. So it's good to know and like learn from that experience. But like in any other scenario, and I've already worked with this client. I like this client and I was still available. So I wasn't too upset. But in a normal scenario, if a client did that, I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you didn't confirm with me. I'm like, not still available.
Yeah.
You almost want to do it out of spite. You're like, dude, you're so inconsiderate. You didn't even respond.
Yeah.
And now why? No.
I've actually had that happen. In particular, someone had hit me up for their wedding and whatever month, 2 months, whatever it was out. And then I didn't hear anything. We go back and forth, whatever. I spend some time on communication, don't hear anything. And then all of a sudden, like week of, and they're like, hey, just confirming this and that. And I'm like, No, what do you mean confirming? I never literally just scroll up to the last email that was 3 months ago. I never heard anything.
Mm-hmm.
And B, you never paid deposit. You didn't even ask about it. Like there's so many other steps that we had skipped in my personal and professional workflow. No, I'm not available. I think deep down, I was actually still available on that date, but out of principle, I was like, that's not how it works. Like, especially like I get events pop up or other things I'm willing to be lenient on.
Yeah.
But like someone's wedding or their elopement, I'm like, no, because you had so much travel and planning involved. Like, I'm not just sitting around waiting for you the week up. So I was just like, no, I'm not available. Like, what do you, no. What?
Yeah.
But
that's my initial reaction. So I was like, no, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, out of spite, I'm like, well, you think I'm just available for you?
Yeah, like mentally, I was like, that day I'm gonna, do nothing or just chill at home, or I rarely do nothing, but like, get caught up on emails, get caught up on this.
You gotta mentally be prepared.
Yeah. That was earlier in my career. I would always take every single gig I got. Anytime anybody would offer me something, I would take it, and I still do that.
I was gonna say, nothing's changed, dude.
Well, like I'm getting better at like last minute shit, day of stuff. I'm just like, nah, it's not worth it, man. When I was my first like 7 years of freelancing, it would just, and I recommend that to anybody else who's just starting, like say yes to everything. Don't say no to anything unless it's out of your capabilities. Cause you never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah.
And I feel like I got a lot of work for that reason because I like took the shit last minute, but now I'm more established than I was previously. I'll still do a last minute gig if it's like worth it or for a client that I really love working with.
Yeah. But I mean, that kind of piggybacks into like finding that balance between kind of like going above and beyond for somebody or a client, knowing like it's going to pay off in the long run, or just like going above and beyond. And other times being like, no, that's not what is originally asked. Like it's a fine line.
Yeah.
Because if it's going to pay off or they're going to appreciate, you're like, yeah, I'll stay extra, even though it's not what we discussed, and do this group photo or do this thing. And other times you're like, no, that's not how this works. If you can't just keep adding and asking, like there's eventually gets to a point where you're like, no.
Yeah. Like I had a client, I did a shoot recently and they're like, oh yeah, can you like get us some stuff tomorrow for this ad? And like, that wasn't discussed. Everyone was very nonchalant about it, but I love that client. I like working with them. I'm like, yes, absolutely. I will accommodate. No worries.
Yeah.
It's just a situational, and it's a give and a take too, because there's definitely scenarios we could be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
But there's definitely scenarios where I look at it as they presented me a problem they have, and if I go above and beyond, it's going to be good in the long run.
Yeah.
I did these corporate headshots, and they kept changing the schedule. They kept changing the convention time. They added stuff. They removed stuff. I came in like 6 hours early and they're like, actually, we're not going to do this group photo anymore. And I just like was super cool about it, smiled, was super easy to work with. And they're like, dude, we're going to hire you for everything when we come to Vegas.
Right.
This convention's every year. The planning companies like here all the time. So like in the long run, it benefited me for sure. But
yeah, it's tough to find that balance. Sometimes you do all this stuff and then you never hear from them again. You're like, God damn it, dude, I should have just stuck to.
Yeah, but then you
can't ever plan for those.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah, and then if I go above and beyond and they don't want to like hit me back up, I know that I did them right and whatever. At least I'm proud of the way that I handled it.
Yeah.
But oh shit.
Yeah. Huntington Vacation. Oh yeah, Huntington Vacation. EDC events in town. Staff photos for Live.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this shit's all doubled up.
Yeah, I know. Our notes got jumbled up. Yeah, so I also was working on. I did 2 staff shoots. I did one for the Win staff there, and then I did another one for the Live staff over at Fountain Blue.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool because both situations I was able to tag team it with Joe Janet.
Nice.
And then one of them we got to hire Steven as an assistant on that as well. Not an assistant, as a more of like a Digitech lighting assistant, jack of all trades, willing to do more work than he's getting paid for.
Right.
That situation.
That role.
Yeah. So that was cool. So they Win came with us with an idea. They had 100 girls that they wanted photographed, and then they wanted a day and a night version, but we had to shoot both of them at night. So Joe and I came up with, like, they kind of had the idea, but then we had to, figure out how to light it.
Execute it.
Yeah, so we'll pop some of this into the podcast as well. But what we did was we shot in this infinity pool.
Yeah.
So we had to shoot this infinity pool. And then when we were shooting in the infinity pool, they wanted to make the infinity pool look like it just kept going up.
Oh, shit.
So what we did was we had the girls in the pool and we lit it in the pool. So we're lighting everything above water on big arms, on big booms and C-stands. And then what we had to do was we had to have a background on the end of the infinity pool.
Mm-hmm.
And then what had to recreate the ripples in the water on the backdrop. So I had a dark blue backdrop. Joe had a light blue backdrop. His was daytime. Mine was nighttime.
Okay.
So how we emulated the ripples of the water on the backdrop, we used Mylar. So we bounced light. Mylar is like, it's kind of like thin aluminum foil.
Yeah, it's almost like a tinfoil, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
it's like an emergency blanket almost.
Yeah, usually I think the only time I've seen it, it's like you can mold it around like lights, right? You like make a snoot out of it or like flag.
Oh, that's sin film.
Okay, I'm thinking of sin
film or whatever.
Okay,
this is it's more like the emergency blankets. That's like the thin.
Yeah.
So it's like that. So we had to hang it. And then what you do is we had to figure out how to then get the ripples looking nice.
Yeah.
So we had to bounce light into the Mylar, and then the light would bounce off with this cool reflection on the backdrop.
Oh, fucking sick.
Then also we had to have assistants moving the Mylar to get it irregular on each photo so it looks different and also looks more realistic. I'll put photos of the setup. This was such a pain in the ass.
I'm excited. I haven't seen these, so
yeah. So
it is rad.
So what we did was we showed up the night before and we did a pre-light day with us three and the client. So we're figuring it all out and it's all outside. And the pre-light day, we were almost there. We got it almost tweaked. So the next day we're like, let's come in a couple hours early. We'll get it set. We'll go eat some dinner. We'll come back, do the shoot. Because the shoot was from like 8 until 2 at night.
Both shoots, right?
Yeah, we did them simultaneously.
Well, yeah.
Joe was one station. I was the other. And then what we did was it was fucking windy as shit that day. And we were shooting outside. So the entire time we're wrangling this fucking backdrop. And it keeps getting ripped. And we're like running out of paper. So what we had to do was luckily I brought 2 moving blankets to divide the pool in half. So we didn't have light spill on either of our sets.
Okay.
We ended up not even needing it. So we pulled them down. And I think it was Steven or Joe who had this idea. But what we had to do is we had to rig the paper backdrop onto the cloth. So it was weighted. So when the wind blew,
it wouldn't wiggle as much.
It had more rigidity. Oh, and then the wind's blowing the Mylar. So then we had to set up 4x4s, put tape down the Mylar onto the 4x4 so it had rigidity so it didn't move in the wind. Dude, we got there like 4 hours early and we didn't get to eat dinner because we kept having to wrangle everything and set it up.
Mm-hmm.
And then also another kick in the pants was that we were on a time crunch for these photos. So we had to shoot 100 girls.
Yeah.
About 15. Well, actually the girls did each. So we did like 100 each. So what we did was we had to set up Capture One Live, and then we casted that over the internet onto 2 iPads. And then we had the girls, after they got done shooting, they would go to Capture One Live. They would look at our catalogs or sessions on Capture One.
Right.
And then they would 5-star the 3 photos
Their
that they wanted for retouching. That was a whole fucking conundrum too, because then like girls were like getting upset because it was taking forever. So they would just leave and they're like, oh, we didn't get our photos. I'm like, well, you didn't select your photos.
Yeah.
And then I'm out of town and it's like, oh.
That's a whole process of, cocktail waitresses, pool girls. Yeah. For them to view their photos, they spend hours on one girl.
Yeah, exactly. So then we had to send it. Then we had to do retouching on it. So then the retouching part was cool because we had like the edge of the pool in the photos. So we shot everything vertically on my end and Joe's end. But for me personally, we had to cut out like the bottom like 1/8 of the image because we had the pool deck. So I don't know how I came up with this, but I made a Photoshop action where I made a rectangular marquee on the bottom half, and then I AI filled it.
General filled it?
Yeah, but I made it an action so I could batch.
So every time you shot, you could just auto.
Well, this was in post. This is afterwards.
Yeah, okay, so you could still just plug it in everything.
Yeah, so what you can do, you could open up a batch action for like 100 images and then click go, and it would just run.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, and then I would go back and I'd pick the AI, and then I'd export it. It's pretty cool. I was pretty proud of myself.
How many lights? Can you go back to that photo?
Yeah, dude.
So how many? I see the 2 rim lights, but is it just 3 light setup?
Yeah, so it's actually a 4 light setup. Let me see.
Yeah, we definitely got to pull these up. I know we, those that actually listen to our podcast. We're already so behind on, promoting our podcast and just posting and recording and all that stuff. But we're going to try to implement for this one and just for guests when we are talking about client work and things like that. We want to try to throw stuff up on the video version, on the YouTube version, so you can see. And then same thing for like the Instagram reel. We'll have some of the stuff pop up. So obviously, if you're watching it, you and us talking about it can reference what it is we're seeing.
Yeah, so you can see.
Oh, that's a small ass pool. Both of these setups are in this little jacuzzi thing.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So we have the key light on the left side of mine. Joe's was a little different because he was going for a little more of a harder light look. I was trying to do more like moonlight, softer light.
Yeah.
So we had the key light on my left side of my set. And then we had the rim on the right side. We had a big fill on the right side as well.
Yeah.
And then we had the backdrop with an optical snoot. So the light was focused to be super hard. It was just like a hard beam.
Yeah, I see it.
Bounced off of the Mylar and then hit the backdrop. Damn. And then this is all at night too. So,
damn, this is crazy.
Yeah. So then you can see like the pool lights are on. So then we had to like make sure we like killed all the ambient light so that doesn't cast on the girls. But yeah, it was pretty cool. So that was my key. That was the fill. And then there's a rim. And then you can see Joe. And then we have Steven's kind of like Digiteching running the iPads. We had two of the marketing people helping run the iPads with the girls as well.
Okay.
So this was like a pretty big like logistical like
yeah. I mean, shoot. This is insane. I mean, you could already see all the people on set.
Yeah, and then Joe and I are like
Joe in fucking skinny jeans.
I know. Joe and I are like sitting on the ground for like 6 hours. My back's killing me.
Right. Yeah. What is it? Your lumbar?
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm like sitting crisscross like that.
On concrete for hours?
Yeah, so...
Dude, that's rad.
Yeah, it was a good time, man. I'm very proud of the way it came out. I think there's some improvements that we can make. But I think overall... actually... Oh, yeah, so you can see this is it batching through all of my photos with the...
With the generative fill, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Dude, these are sick.
Thanks, man.
Dude, yeah, like, because, like, not only, like, yeah, I mean, you guys shot it and you're there and it's your own work, so of course you're going to critique and nitpick every little thing that, like, the average person is not going to see, but, like, just also from, in general, I'm looking at these photos and it's like, dude, not everyone's going to be, you're not going to be able to recreate that, so, like, it's cool knowing that you did something that's like, dude, that sets such a standard, such a bar. Because like if somebody sees that, like, oh, we want to do this, it's not like you're just gonna find somebody else. Like I wouldn't be able to do that. You're not gonna find somebody else to come in and be like, oh yeah, just hop in the pool and we'll shoot it. Like there's so much that went into that shoot that it's like, damn, okay, like we need these guys. Yeah,
and it's cool too because like this is like a bigger shoot where we did it with a more of a team. And Joe and I were doing it with two stations. So we had our own look, but we wanted a mirror, but then there was a lot of logistical stuff. So like moving forward, like we had one pre-light day and then we had one day where we're just logistically planning. Mm-hmm. So like those are 3 full days that we should be invoicing for. So moving forward, I think those are like cool scenarios where you can incorporate that into your invoices. Like not only did you have one full day to shoot, there's also these other 2 days that you put a lot of time and energy into.
Yeah.
So it's cool to start getting clients to where we could, potentially start charging stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we did another shoot for Live. And this is all while I'm out of town.
Right.
So I'm taking fucking Zoom calls while I'm out of town in the airport. And then we have to, so I literally would be out of town. I'd come home Monday. Mm-hmm. One of the Palm Springs. I drove home. I shot until 5:00 in the morning. I drove home at 5.
Damn.
To Las Vegas. Got home at like 9:30.
Right.
Took a 2-hour nap and then went straight to the shoot to do a pre-light it.
Jesus.
So like I would come home on a Monday or a Sunday and then I'd have a commercial shoot all week and then I'd leave again. So then I have to like figure out how I'm going to edit this stuff. I have to edit it on the road. We have deadlines.
Yeah, you got to play catch up from the week before because you've been on this.
Yeah. So the thing for Live was they needed both of their staff shoots done as well. So their idea was they came to me and said, hey, like, we have EDC Memorial Day coming up. We want to do a shoot for both sets of girls, the daytime and the nighttime girls. So I was like, all right, this is a lot. I was like, we need to bring on another photographer. Let's bring on Joe. So Joe did the EDC portion and then I did the Memorial Day portion. You can kind of see it here. I'll show you as well. Let's see. So this was the Live Beach EDC portion. These are Joe's photos. So it's like very like his style.
Yeah.
Hard light. The girls are all dressed up. They are in different bikinis. Like it's very futuristic.
Yeah. It's almost like modern meets like Burning Man.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the vibe with EDC.
Yeah.
And this is totally his style. And he like just took it and ran with it. And the client loved it. So it was pretty awesome. So while he's doing that set, I'm doing this set of these girls.
Yeah.
And then I did Memorial Day while he did EDC. So this was kind of more like, Daisy Dukes, American flags, cowboy hats. They had some Coca-Cola props. So yeah, it was cool to like do that simultaneously. I'll show you some more.
Right, because you guys shot both of these at the same day, same time.
Exactly. So we did it simultaneously. So that's more logistical stuff that we have to set up,
Yeah.
These dogs be barking.
I know, fucking ruining our podcast.
All right, where is this one photo?
So I'm 2 beers in. I want to see how many beers I could drink in this podcast episode.
Well, stop being a bitch and start chugging.
Well, I want to enjoy it. I don't want to start chugging.
Yeah, I have that problem. So this was the set. This is the Memorial Day set. It obviously
sick.
like two completely different styles,
Right.
but like they both cater towards the theme, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool. And this
Yeah,
was
these are
day
nice.
one. So this is a 2-day shoot with 2 separate stations simultaneously.
Dude, these are crisp.
Thanks, man. So I shot those with a 135,
Okay.
and then I had a key.
Yeah.
I had a big D2 with a 5-foot octa, and then I had a B1X with like a 105 octa fill, and then I had a hard light 7-inch reflector on a B1X as a rim, and then we had the natural rim from the sun. So another issue with this is because we had to shoot in the morning because the girls had a SEO, like a private party that night.
Right. Sun's moving.
So we started at 8 a.m. So the sun's fucking moving. You and I did this for the other shoot.
Yeah.
Sun's fucking moving. So then the sun finally at like noon was right here. So then we had to stop. And
Right.
then I had to go pull out an 8x8, set the 8x8 up. So then we diffused the sun.
Explain for the people, what do you mean by an 8x8?
An 8x8 silk. So it's an 8x8 frame that has a 1-stop diffusion or like a 2 or 3-stop diffusion silk on it. So it's basically a piece of cloth that diffuses the sunlight and creates it soft. So it takes a hard light source and makes it soft.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I diffused.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are always like tricky and fun shoots to look at, or because that's the beauty and the skill of it. Looks natural as far as like a seamless light source, but in reality, you have the sun, you have shadows, and then you're using your strobes or continuous light to then combat the natural light, the sun. So, for the non-techie people, it's a lot going on.
Yeah, and this is a great example why like people will want to use continuous or strobes. You want to use strobes here because you want to. I'm underexposing the sun, so it's not too harsh in the background.
Yeah.
With continuous lighting, you would need a gigantic light.
Yeah.
You need so much light.
Yeah.
So that was the daytime stuff, and then the nighttime stuff for EDC.
Oh shit, that's right. So you guys,
We had 2 separate shoots on 2 separate days.
4.
Yeah.
Because your day version, Joe's day version, then your night and his night. Holy cow.
Yeah. So this one was Joe's EDC portion. So then this was Joe's.
Oh shit.
We hooked up with the LD George, so the lighting director of the venue. So he set up the lasers, and then Joe shot.
I was like, who's that?
Joe shot in the lasers. So it's this cool, like same kind of vibe for EDC for the nightclub girls, like very futuristic.
Yeah.
And then while he did that, I did the Memorial Day portion, and the Memorial Day is kind of hard to do for like nightclub stuff. So I had an idea to get some tube lights and set the tubes up in red, white, and blue behind the girls.
Oh, nice.
So it looked like this.
Oh,
So that was my set. So it was red, white, and blue. And then we had the
Nice.
venue turn on the haze, so it was a little hazy. And then I shot it with a Pro Mist.
I was just gonna say, yeah, a little dream filter to
and
add
then
a little.
and then I shot it with the 135 at f2, just to give it the extra dreaminess.
Nice.
That's
sick. 135 f2.
Yeah.
Wait.
Well, it's f1.8, but I'm shooting at f2.
Oh shit! Even then. Nice.
Yeah. So it just kind of comes out. It's just different out of the box.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I know you've you've mentioned it on a few episodes of, more commercial shoots. And so, let me pull back up Google. Yeah, I know you've mentioned quite a, commercial shoots. So those are definitely those bigger shoots that you've been gearing and working towards, of like production, a lot of shit going on. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I do love like the logistical stuff, like the music festivals. I love too. It's like a fun, like I like to travel, do this and that. But then if I can come home during the week and just knock out these big commercial shoots with clients, they come
Yeah.
up with a vision. I come up with it logistically how we're gonna do it. That's definitely like the trajectory I want to stay on.
Yeah.
With, like the commercial work.
Yeah,
yeah,
a lot more like, a lot more production where it's like versus the run and gun. Like that's easy. You could do that all day. But
Yeah.
these are cool to have some time have some time during, and then even after, like you're excited to edit those photos.
Yeah.
Because of, like I said, all the components involved.
Yeah, and then I did a couple other ones that I got to work with Area 15 that like we're still working on, and that was like another fun project. That's another fun client. But yeah,
Nice.
I'm just grateful to be doing the commercial work. It's a good fucking time.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I think you say yes to everything and you get good at everything, and then hopefully you always stay busy.
Right.
You can shoot music, you can shoot sports, you can shoot commercial work, you can shoot events. Like,
Yeah, you shoot multifaceted. That's why it's always funny. Just in general, when people ask like, what kind of stuff do you shoot? It's always like, oh, I don't even know where to begin. Just take a look at my website or my Instagram and you figure it out. Cause like trying to explain,
I
shoot this and that. It's like, what? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I shoot everything. I just don't really shoot babies.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't like I don't shoot
babies, and I don't like shooting like girls. Like if a girl hits me up to shoot, I'm not into it. But if like a venue like hits me up to shoot all their girls, like I'm into it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. I don't want to deal with people like that. And even weddings. Weddings are like far and few between.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I've been up to. I'm pretty fucking crazy.
New gear, tube lights. Are these the tube lights that you got?
These are the tube lights.
That you use for So if you're watching this, we got Mike's the name lights set up for a little extra sauce today on the setup.
Yeah, dude, I think I've been so fucking impressed with these things.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been like strobes always, but these last few shoots I've done for Area 15, it's been like very run and gun, very quick. Dude, the tube lights, undefeated.
The tube lights are great for run and gun. They're also great for small areas. Like I know I've used some of my tube lights in the past. If you're shooting food or cocktails and you need just like a small area to kind of punch in some backlight, it's easy to just throw. At least mine are the 4s, or no, mine are the 2-footers, so they're even smaller. But it's just enough light to just kind of splash on something. They're not the most powerful, but knowing that tool does is like I just need a little bit of light back there, and it's a small thing. They're fucking great.
Yeah, it's great if you can get an assistant that can just hold them. It's so sick.
Movable light stand.
Yeah.
Voice activated light stand.
Yeah, I was using the Amarans. I borrowed them from Mike Perez the first time I ever used them. And I was using the Aperture ones. And we were shooting in the back of house in a kitchen. So I had an assistant just hold the lights. But it was cool because I could take a photo of the ambient light source and it matched the color temp.
Oh, sick.
So then they could just hit a little fill on the chefs while they're cooking. It's not too intrusive, very light and easy. Highly recommend them.
Yeah, I don't know what they were, but I was on that Mystere shoot and there was a guy, a lighting guy, and he was just holding the fucking tube light. That was
I'm very impressed with them, with how much I found a use for them.
Yeah,
because I'm always like, oh, they're small. That's like a harder light source. It's not as beautiful.
Dude, ever since I got mine, I find it an excuse to try to use them because I know it's like this is gonna come in handy, whether it's something small or run and gun. I usually just tape mine to like 2 C stands on the side and just splash. So I think for me, they inspire me to like add a little flair into whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, like this YouTuber setup we got going on right now.
Yeah, this whole YouTube 101 setup with fucking color lights.
There's another big thing that we're excited about. The R1.
Oh yeah, we're talking about that Canon R1. We don't have any details about it.
But definitely
Canon,
getting it as soon as we can.
Fucking blueballed us with some soft launch. Just saying vague terms like it's gonna be. What does it say on their website? It was just like talking about.
Yeah, it's just a development announcement saying that, it is coming. It's not like made up. It's an actual thing. I've been listening to people saying how like now they can have people shoot with it at the Olympics and it's not going to be a secret, since they announced it.
Oh,
If
gotcha.
they didn't announce it, then maybe they would have to, somehow keep the camera a secret still, But
Oh yeah, so the new image processing system composed of these processors and new CMOS sensor enables large volumes of data to be processed at high speeds and delivers, here's the part, never before seen advancements in autofocus and other functions.
yeah, it's
So,
supposed to have like AI that helps you autofocus.
yeah, they're talking about gameplay, but it's like crazy shit.
I know. I'm gonna pre-order it as soon as it's
So
available.
basically this video teaser is just the R3 and they just changed the 3 to a 1 for this because it looks exactly the same as the R3.
Yeah, I saw a comparison of the bodies. The R1s, they like matched them up in Photoshop.
Yeah,
and
this
the
is-
R1's like slightly bigger.
Yeah, it's just fucking Photoshop. Yeah, so if the R3 was 6, this thing's gonna be what, like 9?
Well, that was the original thing that I heard, but the R3 is like now $4,500. So they're thinking it's going to be probably like $6,500, just like the original R3 was, or like the 1DX.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. I definitely want to pick one up when it does release. I mean, I'll wait a little bit. I probably won't buy one. I probably won't pre-order one.
No, I'll pre-order it like a fucking nutcase.
You do that and you let me know how shitty the
Sounds
first
good.
gen is. Like with anything, I'm always skeptical.
Yeah.
I'm always like, I'll wait till like they figure out that like there's bugs.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there will be, but hell yeah.
What else?
Anything else on the agenda?
Oh, I did this shoot for it was pretty big production shoot. That was cool. So it was at Mystere and it was for the city of Las Vegas. So the LVCVA hired this agency or works with this agency. So they're doing pieces on Vegas. Basically, it's a Vegas spotlight. So they did one, the videos they sent me, one was like a chef here. So it's called Heart of Vegas. So that one they highlighted a chef. And the second one they highlighted Shin Lim, who's at Mirage.
Yeah, Yev did his photos for
Yeah.
his ad. Yeah.
So this one they were highlighting Mystere, but they were also highlighting a performer in Mystere to show his background, how he came from Brazil and now performs in Mystere and Vegas and all these other components. But they brought me on for stills for that, which was cool because that was like a production which I'd never been on. Like there was like 30 people on set that I don't know what the fuck they did, but they were on set.
Yeah.
So that was kind of underwhelming because like the camera gear and like 3 video camera setups with shooting on fucking Aries. I was like, oh
Damn.
yeah. I was like, oh damn,
It's big boy shit.
Yeah, big boy shit with the what's the thing? The backpack.
Oh,
Or
Ready
they-
Rig.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they had that shit, and I was like, oh damn, this
Yeah,
big boy.
yeah,
I knew it was big boy stuff because, well, I didn't know it was as big as it was on the Zoom calls. It wasn't until I got on set that day and I saw like the carts, and I was like, oh, there's some fucking Aries and Reds on these
Yeah.
carts. I was like, oh, this is big boy stuff.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Like I said, I was stills for that. Hopefully I could see those. I didn't edit those. I was going
You
to.
just dumped.
Well, I just dumped selects and then I was going to edit. They were like, oh, hey, here's our selects to edit. And then I was like, oh, cool. I could edit those like tonight whenever I did. But then they hit me back immediately. They're like, you know what? We'll just edit it in house. And I was like, all right. I don't really know what there is to edit. But okay. Like, fine by me. Less work I got to do. And I got paid the same. So I'm curious to see how that final project turned out because the videos from their other projects were really sick. So excited to see that. I also shot some film for that, so I'm excited to sneak those in. And I got to see and then shoot the show Mysterious. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, that's fucking cool. You got to
Yeah.
shoot the show too?
Yeah, I had a little seat. I didn't get to move around, which creatively you're like, come on, man, I want to run around. But I was like literally locked into a chair, but still cool to see it and shoot it.
That's awesome.
So maybe in like a year I'll be able to post those.
Isn't that crazy? I did a shoot for Holiday Inn Express and I just dumped it on their drive. They're like, cool, thanks.
Yeah.
Most money I've ever been paid, I didn't have to edit anything.
Oh yeah, and speaking of most money I've ever made, yeah, I did this thing like last week for Nike. They're unveiling
Oh, yeah.
they're unveiling the Asia Wilson signature shoe, and all I had to do was shoot a storefront, which is not a real storefront, it's just the building that they painted
Mm-hmm.
for the ad, and then some billboards around town. And the amount of money they paid, because I was literally like a production company, was insane. And I'm like, this is nuts.
It's awesome for such a little
For
amount of
literally
work.
just shooting some billboards.
Like, cool.
Okay, yeah. I
Yeah.
was like, what?
Yeah, it's crazy how that works.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I've been looking for those photos for Holiday Inn Express. I've never seen them,
yeah.
and the photos I got are so fucking cool. There's so many sick images, but I hope they use them.
Yeah, I just, yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, more productions like that would be cool. More bigger projects and getting different things. I don't know. I'm excited for it all. Doesn't really matter
Yeah,
what it
me
is.
too. I think more stuff will come. I'm excited.
Yeah,
We got a couple more episodes coming down the pipeline. Got a couple maybe brand or rebranding that we're doing. Maybe.
Oh yeah. We won't
divulge too much
we
information.
won't go into too much because Mike has to go shortly here, and we're also still in the process of figuring what that looks like. But yeah, some possibly more polished branding from two guys who record a podcast once every 6 months. So excited about that.
Yeah. I think we got some free time coming up, so some more episodes will be coming a little more consistently.
Yeah.
But I'm just grateful to be able to do it when we can.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely shit or get off the pot for us.
Yeah, and we're staying on the pot.
We're staying on the pot. We're trying to.
Hell yeah.
Episode 34.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah, traveling. I'll save this little thing for next time.
Cool.
That's about, yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, but
Lost at events. You ever get lost in your own head?
yeah, we can save that
Bookmark it for
next week.
yeah, because we're at an hour. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's solid.
Plus, we're gonna sprinkle in some of Mike's sexy photos, some stuff he's been working on.
Yeah, I want to sprinkle in your clips from the NHL, the cool 360 cam stuff you were
Yeah,
doing.
that's true. And I think it's my own podcast. I think I could drop in some of my film Mystere edits or
Dude, for
Mystere
sure.
photos that I like. And
Yeah, I think that will encompass everything.
yeah.
Yeah. But cool. Feel solid?
Yeah. Thanks for listening and watching.
Bye.
See ya.